Good afternoon, everybody. Paul here from Warden Farm. It's the 24th of May, and it's about 3:30 in the afternoon, and we're inside the bee shed here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be harvesting honey. We pulled 72 frames, medium frames, and about 10 shallow frames. We only pulled half of the honey. I left the other half there, and that way the bees got plenty to continue. And when we get done doing these frames, we're going to put them right back on the hives. That way they get the wet frames, they can clean them up, and they can store whatever honey they get, and they can start backfilling these frames. But if they have too much room after they clean it up, I'll pull the frames off and start storing them back inside the shed here. So let's get going on this. We got a lot of work to do, and let me show you what's going on here. This here is the Hive Butler. This is the same system I use every year. You put your frames in here. It's got the perforated bottom for the honey to drop down in. You got a little screw here to rest your frame on. So when you take your decapping knife, you can go ahead and you can cut off all them wax cappings. Once you get them cut off, then you can place it right over there inside of the extractor. One of the things that you got to make sure is everything is clean. 2 days ago I came in here and I cleaned everything, and the tank's clean, the honey buckets are clean. I got plastic on the floor for just in case you spill honey, and I tell you what, you're going to spill honey and make a mess. It makes it a whole lot easier to clean up when you got plastic down on the floor. So I'm going to set the camera up over here, and I'm going to show you how I decap it. So with this system, you have the screw, and you want to rest your frame on the screw, just like that. Makes it a whole lot easier for turning it. You're going to cut the wax cappings off. They're going to drop down in here, and they're going to drain right down into the tank. So basically, you rest your knife against it, the wood frame that is, and you just start cutting. And if you can't cut it all against the frame, don't worry, because we have another tool that comes along and helps you with that. So you just come down, cut as much as you can. If you cut some, that's fine. If you can't, that's fine as well. And then you just let that drop down in there. But this is a decapping fork, and I like coming from the bottom up and just scraping the wax off. You just come under, and all you're trying to do is open up every cell. Some people just scratch it. The thing about scratching it is all that wax ends up down into the comb itself, or into the honey, and then you got to strain it out. Yeah, you got to strain it out anyways, but the thing about it is when you go ahead and do it this way, it's less wax that goes inside your extractor, and it makes cleanup a whole lot easier. And up when you get up close to the edges, you can actually scrape it. And then you take the frame. This extractor can hold 8 of these at a time. So I always put the outer frame towards the outside, or the top of the frame towards the outside. And then after it spins on one side, you pick it up, spin it over, put it back in, and spin it again, and it takes the honey off on the other side. So you can see they're nice cap frames. So again, go against the wood, cut slowly, starts rolling, dropping into the tank, gravity plays in. Turn it around, cut the other side. This one, unlike the other frame, is a lot yellower honey, or more blonde, golden, whatever terminology you want to use. And what's good about this tank is all these cappings got honey on them. And by going into this tank here, they hit the tank below that's got the holes in it, and the honey can drain down through that, and the wax will end up staying up here. So I can then take that wax and I can go ahead and give it to the bees to eat, and then when they're done with it, I can put it in my wax bucket and melt it down. And here's another one, just like the first one. And it just goes, and it continues, and it continues. Now normally, when the bees cap this, it's usually below 18.5% moisture content in the honey. But the only way to find out for sure is to use another tool that I have here in the shed. And I'm just going to come in and get some honey. And I'm just going to place it right on this lens. And by taking honey and putting it straight on the lens, make sure you don't have any wax in it. And then you just set the glass in it. And then you look through this eyepiece. It'll tell you the percentage of the honey just by looking through it. Wow. 16%. I'm going to try to get it so you can see right there. Now you can see the numbers. And that shows you the percentage of moisture that is inside this honey. So 16.25% is really good. That's really good. That means the bees really got it dry. So I'll go ahead and I'll get enough frames in the extractor where I can turn it on, and then I'll show you all how that's done too. So here we are looking down into the capping tank. This is how many cappings are left over from 8 frames. And then coming over here to the extractor, you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames right there that need to be spun. And that's what we're fixing to do. So we'll go ahead and close that lid. And now we come over here to the extractor. The power's off. This is an emergency switch for a kill button. If something goes wrong, you hit that button, mash it down, it will immediately stop the extractor from spinning. Power's off. You want to make sure that your speed button is off. That's your fuse. Now we got the speed set to 0. The run is turned on. You slowly start turning that so that it rotates. And what you're doing is you start slow because you want it to start flinging out the honey. This is a centrifuge basically, and it's casting everything out from one side. So once you start going, even though it's bolted down, it'll rock. So what you want to make sure is you don't get going too fast. It's a slow process. It starts working, and then the honey starts going faster and faster. You turn the speed up a little more, now you'll start to see some of the little wonk that it's got. So we're going to leave it go at this speed for a little bit, and then when this speed is done, we'll go ahead and speed it up a little more. If you look down inside here, you can start to see the honey that's being flung to the sides. And as it's being flung to the sides, it starts collecting, and it'll run down the sides of that wall of the extractor, and it will collect down here. Once it gets full, we'll open this valve and start draining some down into a bucket. When you're using buckets to collect honey, you want to make sure you're using food grade buckets, and you want to make sure it's BPA free, which this is, in a nice and clean bucket. And you will go ahead, when the time is right, the bucket will go there, and you have a screen system. There's 2 screens to this system. Let me push that back down. And your very fines are in this screen. That'll stop them, and in this screen, it'll stop any wax that's coming through. This will stop wax and bee parts, but some will still make it through. And you take this screen filter here, and it fits on the bucket. You close it underneath it, and then you slide it under, and when you open this gate, the honey drains down into it. It's a pretty cool little system, isn't it? So as you can see, I just turned the speed up a little more. While this is going, I can now start decapping other frames and staging them and get them ready to go into this system itself. So these 8 frames will spin, on this side, probably about 10 minutes. Then I'll spin each frame around and do it again. Right there. This is where we started at. So we will come out, we'll take the frame out. It is extracted from this side. Now we want it to pull out from the opposite side. So we rotate it and do that with each and every frame. 80 degrees. That side, now the opposite side. And that's the frame we started with. So we close it, and we are ready to start going slow. Let that sit that way and spin for a little bit. This is what the whole season comes down to. That gold honey. So while it's spinning out more honey, this is the beginning of the 2025 honey season. Isn't that gorgeous? You can see it comes out of the extractor, comes down to there, and you can look down in the bucket and see it's starting to filter its way through, but it doesn't have the wax and everything in it like what you see right here. So that's the whole thing about the process. So this is what everything comes down to. You work all year to get frames of honey that go from the beehives to here into extracting by taking the wax cappings off, taking it, pushing it over into the extractor. The extractor puts it onto the sidewalls, and it comes out into golden honey.